Hello, welcome to Cosmic Love Connections with your host, Judy Jewett, guest Leilani Graham. And I do want you to know we're very grateful that you're watching us today. You'll be able to watch the replay if you miss it. This Cosmic Love Connection goes under an umbrella with Real Community. And we also have Business Gene and Real Healing Method. So it'll depend on my guest and what we're covering will determine what platform we're using. So there again, welcome to being here. You're going to be with us for about 30 minutes. We'll try to keep you entertained as much as possible. Today, I am honored to introduce you to our guest. Her name is Leilani Graham. She is a Hawaiian, a native of Hawaiian, and she's an international sought out life strategist, educator, spiritual leader, and radio host, media station owner. Leilani has held workshops, seminars, and lectures in North America, empowering humanity to discover the power within themselves. She is known as a voice of spiritual wisdom and knowledge. Through the power of the medium, she reaches those who are seeking spiritual understanding and their divine connection with the God source. From a depth of serious spiritual resonance to the joyful art of play, she encompasses the gamut of the spirit. Leilani is a friend, a beacon of great compassion and patience. I can testify to that. Who holds the hand of God and extends the other to those who seek healing and spiritual knowledge. Her love and dedication to the betterment of humanity is what has endeared her to everyone that has come in contact with her. With that, aloha.
Aloha, Judy. Thank you. It's an honor to be here with you. I'm so excited. And I'd like to welcome all of the listeners that are tuning in as well.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that. And also, I we will put as the replay on social media. I will put your links so people will know how to contact you, and I want people to know how to find you for your show because you broadcast every Tuesday and Thursday,
I'd
specific
love to
standard.
welcome, I do. Yes, I do. And the show's name is Universal Spiritual Connection, as you know. I'd love to invite your listeners as well to come in and play with us. I love connecting with people from all over the world, as you know. And I've been doing this for just about 30 years on media. And there's no better way than to be able to use the media to reach out, to share the wisdom and knowledge that we gain throughout our life journey. But I'd also like, if I may, invite everyone to come and visit with me on my website, and that is vibrationalphysics.com. Again, that website is vibrationalphysics.com. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you. I'm glad that you just went right ahead and did that now, and people can stop it for a replay and listen to it again if they need to. So today we are going to discuss the shift and the shift that continues every moment of the 5D and beyond. And I would like that seems to be your calling is to help others step up, to awake, to align to who they are and to this I call it the great awakening.
Well, absolutely. As you know, I spent almost 8 years not only sharing that information 8 years ago, but also taking the time out to be interviewed on other radio shows because I really wanted to get that message out that we were about to embark on the old paradigm versus the new paradigm. And as you know, uh, you cannot occupy the same space. So it was obvious that the old paradigm had to collapse, and that is is exactly what we're witnessing today. And it's been a gradual, throughout the years. And then here we are because we're going to see a lot more collapsing in our outer reality, from various businesses, corporations, whatever. And what is happening all at the same time is there's a rebirth that's actually happening where new companies are beginning to realign and reconstruct themselves for the betterment of humanity. And I'm actually witnessing this, being able to actually talk with these individuals that are very passionate and understand it's really time to give back the power to the people in various ways. That could be from the foods we eat to the furnitures we buy to how we interact with each other. And the golden key for all of us is that we're really stepping into unconditional love for ourselves and of each other. It's time that we let go of the me, myself, and I because we're becoming the we generation. And that what does that mean? Unity, compassion, understanding. And it all comes and radiates from the heart and it's being sent out globally. And every day I get up in the morning and I get it. I'm happier and happier each day. And right now, because of the solar flares, it's bringing in the highest light codes that humanity has ever experienced. But as we integrate those light codes within our physical, we're also purging all at the same time. So we have to remember, get good quality sleep, eat well, exercise, spend quality time outdoors, and also giving yourself permission to interact with people that you love and appreciate. And it's all about kindness and the total expression of the heart. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Everything you're saying is very important and it absolutely makes sense. And when you mentioned businesses, what came to me that it isn't about me, 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 the bottom line, so I can win, get rid of people because they can't reach it, right? It is because I
Yes.
can't make a profit. It is about how can we come together and nourish each other so the employee isn't resentful, feeling controlled, powerless, and their voice does not matter. So the businesses that are still doing the old way, we're going to see a lot of changes. Don't you agree?
Are you with?
Yes.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
And companies
Yes.
are really turning around and focusing their attention on the well-being of their employees. You're seeing companies taking the time to have an entire floor just dedicated to a rest time for their employees to, if you want to go and work out, or if you have children where they're now having they've got the whole facility set up to where you can take your child there and have a sitter that watches over them, all the, company's employees. And, that was unheard of. And more companies are really stepping up to the plate and saying, and if you think about it, because because as you know, I have a lot of people that work with me. And one of the things that I've always understood is that the people that work with you are the people that help support you and your to reach your initial goals in life. And if you treat them well with honor and respect and stay open minded to their ideas and suggestions, it always becomes a win win situation. And this is the aspects that we're actually stepping into now. And it may seem chaotic out there for a lot of us. There's sometimes when I get in my car and I'm driving down the street and I'm going, Holy Moses, what in the world is going on here? But I understand what's happening. And we just have to take our colored glasses off and really see things for what's really happening. And that's all about the old paradigm, the selfishness, the greed, all of that is starting to disappear. It may appear that it's still the same, but oh no, all we got to do is just really tune in and pay attention to what's really happening. And
Yes,
another
that
thing too that I want to add is that with this solar flares coming in, these new light codes that are coming in, also what is happening through all of that as we purge, integrate, we're also releasing the bondage of our karmic cycles. We no longer have to go through those karmic cycles. I am so excited about that for all of us because, I've walked my own path of having to balance out my own karma in this lifetime. But we have all finally, we were able to reach a quota high enough to where they were able to release us from the karmic cycle. So now we can step into what the true expression of freedom is really all about, and what was intended for each of us from the very beginning.
that is so true. One more thing with business before I'm done is corporations are still letting people work from home, and that is bringing the family
Yes.
unit, and people are getting more work done by being able to be at home, be focused, take care of their family in between tasks, and they're really being higher producers. And
Mhm.
absolutely, they're not in the office gossiping, complaining. They're just doing what they're here to do. So I that's the one thing. And then back to what you're saying, I think for people that haven't heard that before, they need to take a deep breath and think of this. So we're being told now that karma, we don't have to have the karmic cycles. We're in a higher vibration. And at the same token, it used to be, even in the past 7 years, it used to be about, oh, well, we're here to heal the karmic energy of our ancestors. And a lot of our energy goes back to our ancestors. And I've said that over and over again. And it was about 3 months ago, and I had a knock, knock, knock spiritually. And it was like, you're in a higher frequency. You're like, you're in the sixth dimension, and
Mhm.
you don't even talk about that. That's not even a concern. That is no longer true. And so I feel that's the same
That's
for the
right.
five, to change that thinking. And all the healers out there that are saying, well, we're going to heal the karmic stuff and the things I do is going to change. We don't have to change, because everything that somebody chose, it's their own path. It's not
Well,
real anyway, right? It's just we're here in the school of humanity, the school of human beings.
well, if you think about it, Judy, we're purging, and we have been purging. Okay, and as we purge, we've been integrating light codes already. But now what has happened is the Galactic Federation, along with the light beings, Father God, and Jesus, all gathered together and had a meeting, so to speak, in their way of having a meeting. But what's really profound about that is they had determined that humanity had the quota of individuals awakening had came to a level to where they felt that they could accelerate the shift. So what's really going on here is and it started last month. We're right in midst of that major shift of the acceleration that they all agreed upon. So once we stepped into that shift, everything else accelerated as well. So when I work with individuals or when I'm on my own radio show, I am really emphasizing keep your vibrational frequencies up at the highest level you possibly can. Do not allow anything to come in to disturb your dominium or your emotional or mental. It's time to let go of those individuals that do not stand beside you, that they are more into staying in the past because the past does no longer exist. The past that we experienced is collapsing along with the old paradigm. So if you really reflect on that, it's non-existent for humanity. What is going on is that we have not shifted in our in our consciousness. And this is where people are getting tripped up on because we want to talk about our old stories. We are not paying attention to our behavior patterns and taking charge of shifting those behavior patterns. Um, Simple as paying attention to how we're communicating, not only especially to ourselves and to others. And so once our conscious level can shift to that greater understanding, oh my gosh, Judy, make sure you put your seatbelt on because magic really does start to happen in your life. You know
Absolutely.
me, I get real excited when I start talking about all this and I just run with it.
Well, and that's what really needs to be done. I'm glad that you're talking about it. And I feel that people that it's important to understand that the third, fourth, and fifth dimensions have all been anchored together, right?
Yes.
So with
Yes.
them being anchored together, if you're still being the victim and you're beating yourself up and you're feeling guilt and shame and you have rage and anger, you're going to increase that because you no longer separated from the lower energies, you're from the higher energies. And I cannot
Mhm.
stress enough to every person to do your inner work. When I work with clients, we dive deep into the spiritual genetic coding that we each are born with to
That is
empower
so
us.
vital. It's
Yes,
vital.
yes. It's vital. And so when I'm listening to people and they're talking about all these things happening to them and they're the victim, then they haven't taken the responsibility that they've created it. And if you're going to be in the higher dimensions, you create your reality. Everything that happens to you, that you experience, it starts up here,
Mhm.
and we are powerful
Mhm.
beyond our imagination.
That's right, going back to the consciousness once again. And let me say this is it's time to really let go of victimhood because the energy that has been flooding on this planet does not support victimhood. And so you the separation that's actually going on, and this is the people that are choosing to ascend into the higher levels of consciousness, to the individuals that prefer to stay in the lower without judgment because they do have the free will and free choice to make that decision for themselves. So initially what is happening, which is already in place, is the we have literally split the earth plane. What does that mean? There's another earth that's sitting on the sideline being prepared for the occupation of those individuals to give them the opportunity, excuse me, to start over and okay, let's evolve to a higher level. Why yourself and I and many others have the opportunity to continue on into these higher dimensions of consciousness, because a lot of people for the longest time thought the 5D, 6, 7, and 8 was a place versus a conscious level. And so I'm really glad you brought that to the table because that's extremely vital. And one of the areas I suggest to the people I work with is your lower three chakras. The base, obviously, your power center, and of course, your emotional bodies as well. Um, a lot of us haven't necessarily looked into the clearing of our base chakra. But as you know, that's all held in the heart. All those records are right there for us to literally tap into for healing and the releasing of any emotion, behavior pattern, whatever it may be that blocks us from moving forward, which is going to be vital. And I'm so excited about it. I just want to do the happy dance and I want to get up on the top of a mountain and shout to the world, pay attention. Great things are happening. Your time has finally arrived. You're going to be free. Take a deep breath and breathe in that freedom. And do not allow yourselves to to get all caught up in what's going on in our outer reality, because what you're really seeing is the collapse of all the greed, the domination over humanity. Those bonds have been, the shackles have literally been broken.
Yes,
Sorry,
absolutely.
there's my
And,
passion again. You know me, I get all
well, I think
excited about it.
Yeah, and I think the way a person, if they're reacting from whatever it is, they're reacting because the traffic is crazy, people are weaving in and out, they're reacting because they're feeling extra tense about something. That's when you have to stop and breathe, put your hand on your heart, and know
Mhm.
that it's okay. It's okay. Just to get off of that merry-go-round that is getting you in circles, it's stressing you out, making you not feel that you're enough, that you're powerful, and get back because we can shift at any given moment. And we get into that lower
Mhm.
vibration and we're forgetting what to do. That's one thing I love about clearing energy with the pendulum is because if you clear your day, and you don't have to use a pendulum, it's just really, like I told you, it's very easy for me, and I stay focused until the energy is clear. You're really clearing it for you. You may be clearing this other lower vibrations because that's what you may drive into for the day, or it may be hectic in on your pathway. So if you clear them, then what happens, you open it up and all those lower energies are gone, and now you can drive with more peace. That's really one thing people can do. And that's just one
Mhm.
example.
Well, and absolutely, because I see it all the time, and it's gotten a lot worse in the last couple of years, I've
Yeah,
observed.
yes.
And
By
that's
the
really
way,
important is for all.
no, go
Yes.
ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
That's really important for all of us to be the observers of what is unfolding all around us, including in our personal lives, even with ourselves as individuals. Um, I constantly, I had shared with you, I was standing in the DMV line, and I was doing inner reflection because I stood there for 2 hours. So I thought, well, I'll just, go within myself. And I actually did. And I had revelations with about my own person, things that I had not quite had come to terms with. within my own self. And by the time I walked out of DMV, I had completely shifted that I had walked almost my entire life with because I just couldn't seem to, get to the very core of it. The lady says, "Oh, you seem to be really happy today." But I wasn't about to stand there and tell her, "Well, by the way, while I was standing in your line."
I
But
had a
we
counseling session with myself. Yeah.
And see, that's another thing about this energy is they have really opened up that gateway for all of to give us the space that we need to release. And we can do it at a quantum leap. And every time we shift, we literally are actually doing a quantum shift. Literally. And see, this is where your work, and I told you this when you came onto my radio show. I told you the timing of your work is superb with your human design, the pendulum work, all of that. And I'm not just saying that because I know you. It's because you have something is of real value to humanity that can quicken their own self healing. And who wouldn't want that, right?
Right, right. And with the gene keys, you're right. It's like it makes so sense. Like, why is 80-90% of humanity and the victim? They're in their shadow energy. Well, that's because they don't know how. They don't know how to change it. They don't understand that it is a frequency range, and they can change it at any given moment, and it
Hmm.
is self-reflection that really helps, and the real healing method, healing modality, will help you release it just like that. So it's
Yeah.
all very important. And by the way, if you have you been listening to my dog bark? Has she been? Can you
Yes,
hear her? I am
I
very, very
can.
sorry. She has been wanting to be very vocal. She's never shown up on a show before in the background where she has just barked. So I apologize for that. And
Why?
why? Because I find it annoying myself, and I couldn't get up.
Doesn't
And
bother me in the least. You
uh,
know, our animals have they're so precious, and we really need to pay more attention to the animals. I'm an animal lover, and it's really interesting because when I had my cats with me, I was able to communicate with them
I
and vice
remember that.
versa, right? And
Right.
so and then, of course, some of them actually were able to speak English language, which just blew me away. But this goes to let you know they know, and your dog is probably wanting to be a part of the show because look at the energy we've got here today.
Well,
It's
normally
really
she's with me.
powerful.
Normally, she's in my room, and this time I put her out, and so she's never barked
Ah,
before. And I'll put her like, I have her crate right here, and she loves hanging out in it during the day, and I'll close the door so she doesn't get distracted, right, in a session or a recording because of, something else. But today I didn't. So I now know.
I did wanna go back real quick because
Yes.
this is a very important element when I had spoken about the earth plane being split into 2 different earths. Now, what is also been transpiring is that because they accelerated the shift for humanity, the and the best way I know how to describe what has been shown to me is the 5D has has literally opened itself up. Well, excuse me. I'm going I have to back up here because I'm giving you the incorrect information. You guys need to slow down. I have a big team that works with me, and they all want to jabber. They all want their voices to be heard. But forgive me for that. I want to talk about the soul because those individuals that are having challenges on the earth plane are receiving a brand new soul self. Okay. And as the new soul is descending and integrating into the physical, think of it like a black hole. A black hole consumes everything in front of it. It gets sucked up into that void space, right? Well, that is what's happening to the old soul of that particular individual. So it is consuming the old soul as it descends and integrates into the physical. The reason for this, which I found it extremely fascinating and thankful all at the same time, because it's giving these individuals to be able to step into the 5D consciousness instead of being held back and then potentially having to go to the new earth plane that is waiting on the sideline. So now what's going to transpire is those particular humans will go to that new earth plane, but they will also invite other life forces from other planetary systems, universes to come onto that new earth plane so that they have the opportunity to begin that their cycle for ascension, which is really exciting.
It is. So the way what I hear you saying, the way I would interpret it, it's not that you have a soul over here that says, "Oh, I'm going to come to ascend." It means that we all have that highest soul perspective, that highest soul anyway, and that I feel that's a higher version of themselves that's coming, that's ascending because now they're ready for that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So it's not, there's not,
Absolutely.
everybody has a perfect soul. We're all part of the whole. If you think of a splash of water in the ocean, we're all part of that. And it's the soul. The soul has very many ranges. Even example, I'm going to use my dog Bella. Bella is reincarnated from my last dog. Well, I found out that she's also reincarnated from one of my cats. And I
Oh,
did not know
interesting.
one of my cat. Yeah, I didn't know because I never really thought a lot about the soul of animals. Also, I want to tell you that one of the huskies, so I have four grand huskies. I don't have grandchildren, I just have dogs. And the grand huskies, one of them is very regal, and he is the head of the pack, and he's the largest husky. And he showed me not too long ago that his soul is not a dog, his soul is a horse,
That's right.
a, a white,
Oh.
magnificent horse.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna
that
have to come and meet them.
yes. And now but I wanted to go back to Bella. Bella is white. She's a white with two tan spots, a Shih Tzu Terrier mix. So she has the wiry hair and she doesn't have any fear. And if you would open the door, she probably wouldn't come back because she runs. She's adventuresome. So in this one day, I say she's my soulmate, right? She's my little soulmate. And I was in gratitude, and my the guides came and showed me her highest soul image of her, right? That is her main soul as Bella. She's been a cat. I mean, she's been Layla and some other ant dogs, is actually a star being. And she doesn't look, she literally looks like she's on a ship. I mean, she pure white. And she can't come to be here because the energy isn't high enough for her. But that goes to show us, even animals, even our pets, all of
Mhm.
us humans, we are so incredible, powerful in love of the
Yeah.
creator, the spark of the creator, that we come with aspects of us, of our soul journey. But the
Yes.
highest soul journey isn't even on this earth plane. that is much higher that can live here. So that's the part people need to understand. The gift they're receiving is a higher
Mhm.
aspect of their soul, and they're ready for it. They're abs
That's right.
played this game of pain and suffering that we've all had. It's a pain and suffering, and it's time to release that also.
Well, it's interesting because as I was listening to what you had to share, I was reflecting on a particular individual I came across, I would say probably about 4 months ago. And no matter, she had seen a lot of different individuals seeking some kind of help for her self healing. And so she thought, well, I'll go see Leilani for the I'll make her my last attempt before I just totally give up. And so when she walked in, and the reason why I'm sharing this is because you guys will understand once I share with all of you what I started noticing is that she had a fractured soul. So when you have a fractured soul, and that usually is when you have gone through trauma that has traumatized you so deeply that for you to feel safe at any capacity is you start to fracture yourself to go into other levels of reality for safety. But what ends up happening is your fractured self stays there and doesn't come back to the whole. And so we have a lot of individuals on this planet that are walking around simple as an individual driving 100 miles an hour on a surface road, or a person that insists on yelling and screaming and with all this anger and bitterness and hatred in their hearts. And you wonder, how can their heart be so dark? Because this individual is perfection in action. When God created this individual, they're a light being just like you and I are. And so this is where your work comes, that's extremely important for everyone that seeks you, Judy, because you're able, even with the fractured soul, can bring that whole to back together again. And this gives them the opportunity to be able to jump on board with the rest of us for their own self healing. It, propels them at a quantum leap to get from point A to, let's say, to M, where
Yes. Yes.
to get them caught up with the level that many of us are at, right? To be able
Right.
to be in that conscious level.
To bring everybody back together. I had one time, and I know we're about at the end of our show, but I had a client one time, and this was early on when I went from, because I've been a healer for well over, for 25 years. I've been in the healing arts for probably 30. And it was probably when I rebranded more into coaching. And that was about 2015. And this was 2016 before I moved to the Carolinas. And so I was still using the phone or in person for a client instead of Zoom. Now I use Zoom all the time. And this client, and I was doing what Father, Mother, God, well, exactly what I'm instructed to do, what I felt. And I'm very heart based with the inner child and the Christ consciousness of that inner child.
That's right.
And so I'm doing what, I'm guided, right? What to say. And I just bring all of her back into her.
Yes.
And she doesn't know what I'm doing, but that's exactly, I'm using my hands, I'm bringing her all together. And her comment was after the session, she said, and this isn't being disrespectful that people do not need counseling. I'm not saying this at all. I think counseling is very important for people that go
I do
there, right?
too.
I do. But what she said was, I have been, when my parents went through a divorce and I was seeing psychiatrist or psychologist or whatever, and I'm put on whatever, I never have felt this calm and received from a session like I just did. And the only thing I did is I got her back in her body.
Which is vital,
Yes,
right?
and so that was her take. Now, somebody else might have felt completely different. That's why I want to be very respectful for all the healing arts. And everybody has their own experience of what they need. And so she just kept running. She didn't continue. She probably had sessions for a couple months, but her life was always in an uproar of something. And
Mhm.
so then she couldn't financially afford it. And no matter what I did, it just, she got what she needed as long as she needed it, right? So you just have to look, if you're a person that finds that they're
That's
not
true.
grounded, you're bouncing all over the place. You don't, people don't know what you're doing next. You're moving continually. You're always in a feeling is I don't feel safe. And then chances are there's a good chance, not chances are, that you need to get back in your body. It's as simple as that. It doesn't
Yes.
mean some
And
big,
there's many of
big,
them like that,
yes. Yes. So we'll have
that
to
are
have a show and
uh,
bring people back in their body.
well, and let's I mean, if we think about it, it makes perfect sense because look what's going on. There I come across people every day that are really having a tough time coping because they
Coping.
just don't understand what's going on around us. How many people and I was oh my gosh, I spent 8 years talking about the old paradigm versus the new paradigm, that it would actually start to collapse because it could not, the old and the new could not simultaneously occupy the same space. And I thought, wow. And this has been happening gradually. And I'm making reference to an individual that has been on their spiritual path, gone through various classes, healing sessions, whatever, they were doing. And I was really intrigued to hear that. And I thought, where where did she miss with this greater understanding? Because I like to observe people. I like learning from everybody. I learn from all of, from you, for everyone I come in contact with. And I have the type of mind that I want to really get down dig deep to figure out, because as you and I know, it's all about going to the core, the very core and
Cool.
essence of that, right? And see, with the work I do, I walk in and out of dimensions, but I also, as I'm doing that, I am removing old codes, light codes, and I am rewriting codes to give this person the space, the energy, the sight to be able to make some sense out of what's going on around them. And see, you're doing exactly the same type of work. And I'm going to tell you, because things are going to get pretty hairy the remaining of this year. Okay. And so this is where your work, my work, and many other healers, and I've been telling healers for the last 3 years, you really need to start crossing your T's and dotting your I's. Why is that, Leilani? I said, I'm gonna tell you right now with what's coming. And I'm not into fear-based stuff. We have to let go of fear. Fear is an illusion. That is something that has been tried to program our minds to believe it is a real emotion. Fear is not a real emotion. And so I know that sounds so strange to say that, right? But I've been telling them, I said, you need to get everything in order because humanity is really going to need us. And I mean
Right.
that with the utmost respect, because and some of them, you just need to remove the residue because they've done great work. And there's some individuals that they just can't quite get to that root of that particular issue. They're aware of it, but this is where you come in, or another healer will make a significant difference in that individual. And personally, none of us have time to waste on lesser frequencies, old habits and patterns, um, negativity, even being around negative individuals. We just don't have time for it. Let's jump on the train together and let's really claim not only ourselves as individuals, just the way we are, but it's also time for us to jump on board with the higher levels of consciousness, which
Yes,
five,
yes.
six, you name it.
I absolutely agree. And what I see is that we all form an energy around the planet holding each other up. And no one is above anybody, no one is below anybody. It does not matter. And
That's
if
right.
someone thinks that they are better than you and they're doing this work, run, because we're all the same. We all have our specialty, and people will be attracted to what it is our specialty is. So when you work with light codes, I work with light codes. All we're saying is we are helping you to change your DNA. The part of the DNA that was wired centuries and centuries ago,
That's right.
victimization, that is being released, that is being removed. You will never have to have that again. And that means don't you, when you're playing the victim, become aware of it, because all it is an imprint and a pattern. It is not true that you're
That's
free.
right.
You're absolutely free. And when we what we're doing is we're helping to activate the DNA strands that that the individual has. And we're talking spiritual DNA. We're talking all that, the junk DNA that scientists call junk. And we're working on the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, the cosmic level. It's all of it. And so it's all very important for everyone to activate their DNA. I mean, to activate who they are, to live their full potential. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
With that being
Because
said,
it's so exciting.
yes, it is. It's very exciting. And with that, if you would please give the listeners, the viewers, however they're hearing this, would you please give them your um, links again with your, especially your show, so they can jump on, or also your website?
Thank you, Judy, for the opportunity. I'd like to welcome all of you to join me tuning in to my radio show. It's called Universal Spiritual Connection. I have a lot of callers that call into my show. I have obviously various guests that join me either Tuesday, well, both Tuesday and Thursday nights. I do broadcast at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific at the moment. So come on and join us. I usually post that information on my Facebook profile page. If you're not there, you're welcome to join me. Everyone is welcomed. And then I'd like to also share my website, and that is vibrationalphysics.com. And matter of
Thank you.
fact, should I say it again?
Yes.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was a real pleasure, Judy. I can talk for hours and hours and really dive deep into this, and I kind of wanted to keep it simple um, for your listeners, not to insult them, because I know if they're hanging out listening to you, they're great people.
I feel the same about what you're saying about you, and I will make sure that you have the link and you can post it also to your Facebook. And I'm hoping that you become a regular. I think we just had the best time.
Well, Judy, You're going to be on my show next Thursday, right?
That's
It's
right. A
next
week from
Thursday.
Thursday.
Let me pull, excuse me, everyone. Let me pull my trusty calendar out. I keep that close at hand. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you're on the 28th of March. So have all your listeners come to listen to you on that show, and they'll see a different side of me as well. I'm just a little nervous because I'm on camera, and I normally don't go on camera, and you know that. But because I love you so much, Judy, you're very precious to me.
Yes, you're very precious to me. I think it was perfect, absolutely perfect. So, with that, I would like to thank the listeners for watching. Reach out to us, join us again. The way I just want everybody to know that my goal is to have a broadcast every day at noon, just like the news, a spiritual broadcast every day, whether it's for 10 or 15 minutes or we go much longer, it doesn't matter, but that's what I'm working towards with my videos. So with that, thank you very much. Sending everyone much love.
Thank you, Judy.